Welcome back to my channel. Today we have 10 real short scary stories that will haunt you for the night. So, enjoy. Number 1. Nursing home. I used to work night shifts in a nursing home. One night I called out to a resident who had a habit of wandering in the night across the gallery that overlooked the nurse's station, and she had been hurrying back and forth for a good while. My colleague next to me asked who I was speaking to, and when I explained, they said, really? She died 2 nights ago. Number 2. The dog. When I was about 8 years old, about a week after my family's beloved dog had died, I was home alone, playing on the computer. The house was dead silent until I heard the unmistakable sound of dog claws clicking on the wooden floor in the hallway. It was our dog's noise. She would walk with a slight limp that created a distinct rhythm when her nails hit the floor. I looked in the hall, saw nothing odd, then looked back to the computer and heard it again. I even called for my mother, and there was no response. Despite the fact that our dog, assuming it was her, wouldn't have hurt a fly, I was scared enough that I booked it out the door and went over to my neighbor's house until my parents came home that evening. Number 3. A trip in the middle of nowhere. Once when my family and I went on a trip, our car broke down in the middle of nowhere. There was only forest on both sides of the road and no signs of civilization for miles ahead. My mom and I stayed in the car while my dad went to investigate what was wrong. And that's when I began to sweat and have full-on chills. Moments after my dad got back in the car, I saw a sinister-looking black figure outside my window, just staring at me. And then we drove off. Number 4. Small town dive bar. I used to work at a small town dive bar that was built in the late 1800s as a hotel. One night I had let the rest of the staff go home before me, and I was closing down with all the doors locked. When I was heading out to leave, all I had left to do was shut off the light in the kitchen. But the switch was in a weird spot, just barely within my reach. I missed it the first time and heard a man's laugh, as if someone was standing next to me. Clearly, nobody was around, so I panicked, hit the lights, and headed for the door. But just as I had opened the door, the same voice said my name. I have never run out of a building so fast. Number 5. The hospital. I work as a night shift tech in a hospital. Around 3 in the morning, I was stocking things in a cabinet at the end of a hallway. As I was doing that, I heard a very distinct male voice chuckle from the room behind me. Initially, I thought nothing of it, because patients can be awake at all hours. But then I realized that no one was staying in the room. I stopped what I was doing and ran. I had a coworker go back to the room with me to see what was going on, and no one was in there. Number 6. An old pub. I used to work in a very old pub. I was the only person left in the building one night and had to close up at around 2 in the morning. No windows were open, and all the doors were locked while I was sitting in the upstairs area of the bar cleaning glasses. Suddenly, the chandelier above my head started to spin, gradually going faster and faster. I quickly decided to get out of there, but as I was moving downstairs, I looked back and saw a young boy standing by the wall opposite the bar. Without thinking, I was going to tell him we were closed and that he had to leave. But when I looked again, he was gone. Number 7. Scratches. A few weeks ago, I had to put my cat to sleep, and I decided to keep his ashes in an urn in my bedroom. Despite the fact that my house was built in the 1700s, I had never had any paranormal experiences here before this last week. For the past week, whenever I'm going to bed, as soon as I feel like I'm actually going to sleep, I hear 3 quick scratches right behind my bed on the pillow, and it jolts me back awake. Last night, after what must have been over an hour of scratching noises, I actually said aloud, "Phones, I'm trying to sleep. Please stop." And that was the last time I heard it. I like to think it was his way of letting me know that he's still around. Number 8. A figure in black. I had to have an emergency C-section with my eldest son, and the recovery was really rough. So I wasn't getting much sleep after the procedure. Once I remember waking up in the middle of the night and seeing this 10-foot tall, slim creature dressed in black with the face of a baby leaning over my son's cot, which was right next to my side of the bed. I thought it was a dream and shook my head, but it didn't go away. It turned its head to look at me. I screamed, and it stepped back into the shadows. Number 9. When I was asleep. Once when I was asleep, I felt someone stroking my hair. I thought it was my boyfriend, because he does this a lot. But the petting of my hair got more aggressive, to the point where my head was forcefully being pushed into the pillows. I fully woke up and turned over. I saw the figure of a man slink into my closet, with a creepy smile plastered on his face. I jumped up and ran out. I came back with a knife, and nobody was there. However, in the closet, there remained this horrible smell. Number 10. A figure. When my daughter still lived with me, she would spend the night at her boyfriend's house sometimes, and she would always make sure to text me to let me know if she was. One night, I hadn't received a text from her yet, so I assumed she would be back, but just late. I went to bed and began to fall asleep when I heard the front door open and close. I'm used to hearing my daughter come in and tell me, "Hi Mom, I'm home." But several minutes went by with nothing but complete silence. Because of that, I suddenly woke up to see that there was a figure at the end of my bed. In a strange voice, the figure said, "Let me in." I sat straight up in the bed and yelled for it to go away. The figure disappeared, and a couple of minutes after that, I received a text from my daughter saying that she was spending the night at her boyfriend's house. It then dawned on me that I heard someone come into my house, saw something at the foot of my bed, and the whole time my kid hadn't even been home for the entire day. That brings us to the end of this episode of the Witching Hour Wagon. Comment below which story gave you the chills, and stay tuned for more bone-chilling stories. And as always, you can send your own scary stories to the email below. So, subscribe and press that like button. Thanks for tuning in. Be wary and take care, because something wicked is always on its way.